Hello, and welcome to the next video in our series of videos for the Next Level Connections program. In this particular training video, we're going to cover the Business Line Extension Program application process. This is a self-registration program, so let's take a look at what the applicant will see after they register for access to the program portal. After the applicant completes the registration process for enabling their login, they will be presented with the Next Level Connections portal and the first login experience. They will have to enter a name for their business, their title, and their phone number. Once they've entered this information, they can click Next. They'll be presented with a confirmation screen where they can review the information they've entered. If they need to make any corrections, they can click the previous button and go back and edit their information. Otherwise, if it's correct, they can click Next, and the system will save the information and return them to the Next Level Connections portal on the home screen, now with the Business Line Extension Program application tile available to them. Once the applicant gets through the first login experience, they'll be presented with the home screen where they will be able to either create their first Business Line Extension Program application or manage existing applications that they've already created. This is a multi-application program, so the business can create as many applications as is necessary to cover all their business locations where they're requesting business line extension. From the home screen, the applicant will be able to click the Business Line Extension Program application tile. If they have no applications present yet in the system, it will create the first application for them and they'll be able to begin filling it out. If they already have applications in the system, as we'll see here, the system will present them with a list of applications. They can choose to return to an existing application and continue updating it until the point that they can submit it, or they can create a new application, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the video. To open an existing application, all the applicant needs to do is select one with the radio button in front of it and click Next. In this case, I've selected one that's already been submitted for Okra review. There will be a warning that'll display indicating that applications that have been submitted can no longer be edited here in this window, and it will direct them to the My Applications area, which is the second tab here that they can use to review existing applications in a read-only mode. So to get back to this application and see what they submitted, they'd be able to come to this screen, click on the unique name for this application, and view it in a read-only mode. I'll come back to the My Applications area later in the video and demonstrate what can be done there. For now, I'm going to return to Home, and I'm going to click the tile again, and I am going to open an existing application. Let's go through and discuss what's in an application first, and then we'll go create a new application. To open this application, they just click Next, and it presents them with the main menu for this particular application. And all applications will have these menu selections on them. There's a personal information section, a broadband internet information section, additional comments, and an affidavit section. They'll have to complete all of these sections in order to be able to submit the application. This application is already complete, so let's walk through each section and see what information is collected. Let's start by taking a look at the personal information section. Just click Go in front of that menu selection to enter the form for this section. You can see that we're pre-populating the organization information or the business information that was entered at the first login experience by the applicant. The applicant will then need to select a type of business from the list that's provided. They can also select other from the list that will ask them to enter will ask them to enter a description for what other indicates. Point of contact information will be pre-populated from the applicant information that was entered when they registered. That information can be overwritten here for this application. Overwriting it here and saving it does not update the point of contact information stored in the system for the applicant. It just changes it for this particular application. They can overwrite any of these fields and save them with the application. Otherwise, if the pre-population of the information is correct, then we can go ahead and leave that as is. The organization address needs to be entered as well. That was not collected on the first login experience. So the user will need to fill out the full address of their business location. They will also need to specify a county from the pick list that's available for counties. We also ask them for that business address location to identify the Indiana legislative districts that apply to that business address. There is a website that they can go to, and they can go to that website. They'll need to re-enter their organization address information on that website, and then the website will present to them the Senate district and the House district that are applicable to that particular address. At this point in time, we're not passing the organization address from the form here through to this website, so they'll have to retype it when they get there. They'll enter that information. They'll also be asked whether they rent or own at this particular address. If they select rent, they will be presented with a set of fields to identify who the property owner is, provide a property owner phone number, and provide a property email if it is known. This is an optional field. They can enter that information. They'll be asked if it is a multi-unit building. They can answer a simple yes or no question and to identify the number of employees at the location. Once they've completed entering the information and there's no more required fields showing, they can click next. Let's move on to the next section. Just click go in front of the broadband internet information section to enter that form. Here, they'll be asked to answer some questions about their broadband access that they currently have. The first question asks them if they currently have a broadband subscription at their address. If they answer yes, they can enter information about the current broadband provider. They can also indicate whether or not they want to keep their current broadband provider. If they answer yes to this question, then when they submit this application, Okra will route it to the existing broadband provider to consider whether or not they can provide the business line extension to them. If they answer no to if the applicant answers no to this question, then Okra will route the application out to all broadband providers participating in the program for them to bid on providing a business line extension to this business. We also ask the user if they have a broadband connection to go out and test the current speed and enter the download and upload speeds that the current connection provides to them. And once they complete that, they can enter in the monthly fee that they're paying for that broadband connection. And they can also provide a list of the broadband providers that service their area if they know that information. And it's just a text field that they can enter. If the applicant answers no to the first question, the screen will look a little bit different. Answering no brings up a set of different fields for them to fill out. The first question will be to have them indicate if there are specific barriers to the them receiving broadband access at this current location. If they do select the other option, they'll be presented with a text field that they'll need to fill out to describe what other means. Additionally, they can also indicate on the screen the broadband providers that they're aware of that service their location. Once they've completed filling out this information, they can click Next to return to the main application menu. The next section is the additional comment section. Clicking Go in front of that menu selection opens up the form for the section. It's a 2,000 character text box where the applicant can provide more information about how getting an improved connection at this location is going to result in improved or expanded services for their business. Once they're completed with this section, they just click on Next to return back to the main menu. The final section for the application is the affidavit section. Clicking Go there opens that section. All they need to do here is enter a signature by typing their full name into the signature block and confirming that the information they've provided is accurate. And when they're done, they can click Next. This will bring the system back to the main menu. At this point, all sections are showing complete and the Submit Application button is available. Clicking the Submit Application button brings them to the submitted confirmation, indicating that they have properly submitted their application to Okra. They click Finish here. That will return them to the home screen. And we can now go look at My Applications and see that they now have a newly submitted application on the list. Now let's take a look at the new application process. Again, if this is the first time that the applicant has accessed the portal and there are no applications, simply clicking on the business line extension program application tile will create automatically their first application that they can begin filling out. If they have existing applications that they've already created, when they want to create a new application in that situation, they would click on the new application button here on this screen. That will create a new application and give it a unique name, and they can begin filling this out. Let's just take a quick look through each of these sections to see how they're laid out on a new application. When they click Go for the personal information section, you'll see that much of the information on the screen is required, and that's indicated by the required notations off to the right of the selections. They would have to make a selection or populate information in each field to clear those required sections. Also, you can see that we are pre-populating the point of contact as we discussed earlier. That section is required as well, but since the information is all pre-populated, it's not showing as required up at the top. The user does have the ability to go in and change any of these values. Again, only for this application, and it will be saved with this application and submitted with that information. They will need to enter their address information. The full section of address information is required. They'll also need to select a county off of the list of counties that's available within the system. As we discussed earlier, they'll need to go out to this website and provide information on their Indiana legislative districts. That's also required information. Whether they rent or own is another question that they'll have to answer. We saw earlier that they answered rent to that question, and it provided some additional fields that needed to be filled in for the rental property owner. If they select own, then they do not need to fill out additional fields for that section. If it's a multi-unit building, again, they can select a simple yes or no option. And if they have the number of employees that they want to enter, they can enter that information here. As you can see, that field is optional. I'm going to go ahead and leave this section not completed for the training video. Just clicking Next to return the main menu. If you look at the broadband information section, it starts out with the initial question of whether they have a current broadband connection. If they answer no, then we present the questions that we showed earlier. If they answer yes, then there's obviously the additional questions that we showed earlier that we'll ask them to go through and fill out. You can see that none of this information is required. It's just requested if they say yes. However, if they do say no, it's also information that they can enter in to this section as well. And you can see that section completes even though we didn't fill out all the fields because most of that information is not required. In the additional comment section, it is required, so they will have to enter some information here. And again, they can enter up to 2,000 characters. That section will show complete when that's filled out. And then, of course, the final section that they need to complete is to enter a signature set of text here. Normally, they would enter their full name. I'm just going to enter a placeholder here and click next, and that's how they would complete that section. So that's what a new application would look like. Let's go take a look at the My Applications area. By clicking on My Applications, as we discussed previously, the applicant will get a list of any of the applications that they either have in progress or have submitted. These are all read-only when accessed through this particular screen. Let's go ahead and take a look at the application we just recently submitted and see what it looks like in the My Applications area. So again, this is a read-only depiction of the information that they provided when filling out the application. This is the only way to get back to a submitted application and see that information. At the top of the screen, it provides some information specifically about the application itself and the applicant that is registered with Okra. Provides information on the applicant. It displays all the personal information section, information that was input into the system when they were completing the application. It also displays the broadband internet information that was input, additional comments, and the affidavit section indicating what they typed in for their affidavit signature. There are no related items for this particular application. Again, the related tab displays here, but if a user clicks on it, they won't see anything listed. There is also the printable view, which when clicked provides a view of the application that is more suitable for printing out and shows all the same information that we saw on the previous screen, allows them to print the page, and once they're done printing, they can close this particular window. That concludes this training video. Thank you for watching.